The West Virginia Mountaineers football season is getting ready to kick off in less than 24 hours. Joining us live from Nelsonville to tell us more about the game and the season coming up for the Mountaineers is Raspy Voice Kids' own Brandon Phoenix. Brandon, thank you so much for sitting down with us from home.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. Always like to join WTAP and be a part of the Mid-Ohio Valley experience. Ready to get it rocking.
Absolutely. We always love having you. We do miss your brother as well. We haven't had him in a while, but we love having you all the time. So let's get right to it. The West Virginia Mountaineers football team is kicking off their season. Rich Rod back at the helm, and they get an easy one. Robert Morris University coming into town, and game time about 2 or 3, I believe, in the afternoon. So should be a good one for them to start the season off on the right foot. What do you think are the biggest keys going into the game?
The biggest key for the entire game should be showing up. West Virginia is a 34.5-point favorite. There are no excuses here. I know a lot of people are going to point to the fact that they have not named a quarterback, and they say if you're going to start 2 quarterbacks, then you have no quarterbacks. West Virginia on their depth chart has 4 oars, meaning there's 5 quarterbacks that could play, 5 quarterbacks that should play against Robert Morris. And if things go the way that they want against Bobby Moe, all 5 should see action and should do very well. If not, West Virginia's in for a long season.
And so, like you said, it could be a long season if this one isn't a rout. So I got to ask you, what's the prediction for Saturday in the home opener?
I think West Virginia wins. I think they win big. I'm not sure that they cover. 34.5 is a big number. But I think that Jaheim White should do very well, should run very well against Robert Morris. I think that whether it's Nico Markiel or whether it's Jalen Henderson, Max Brown, Scotty Fox, or Khalil Wilkins, they should be able to get it done through the air because Cam Vaughn and the rest of the receivers are really good. They should be talented. Rich Rod says there's nothing to worry about, so they should make the job easy for whoever the signal caller may be. Yeah, Jamori Robinson is not on the depth chart. That is a surprise after having that landmark ruling saying that he and the 3 others could play or that they were eligible. There is a question now about whether Jamori Robinson is actually going to play. He's on the roster, but he wasn't on the depth chart. That could be from not playing and practicing. That could be from some other issues. We're still trying to suss that out. We're going to see what we get when it happens.
And so I want to turn our attention to the rest of the season. Obviously, Robert Morris should be an easier opponent. Put that one in the win column, I think. But as a tune-up, that game should set them up, hopefully, for success the rest of the season. What are you hoping that the Mountaineers accomplish throughout this year in the first year of Rich Rod back at the helm?
Well, I'm hoping more than anything they can settle in on a culture. It's culture over scheme. It's culture over play calling. It's culture over everything else for West Virginia in this first season. More than anything else, we want to be able to see that this team has the tenacity and the aggression that Rich Rod wants, and we want to see that they're going to play hard every single down for every single person in the state of West Virginia.
Absolutely. And so I want to ask you at this point, what do you think, at least going into the season? Obviously, we haven't even really seen them play besides some practices over the summer and the spring game as well. But what do you think the record may turn out to be in the first year of Coach Rich Rod?
That's tough. It's really hard to say. West Virginia's got a favorable schedule on a lot of levels. But if they get bowl eligible, if they win 6 games, they go 6-6 this year, to me, that's a success. There was a lot of roster turnover. There's a lot of players on this team that weren't here last year. There are a lot of people playing for Rich Rod who've not played for Rich Rod before. He said early on that during practice he was not getting the intensity he looked for. He was not getting the focus he'd hoped for. He didn't have the hard edge that he preaches. But hopefully the team will settle into that. They will establish a culture that can be maintained through the seasons to come. And more than anything else, getting to a bowl game would be a success in my book.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you there, Brandon. I think going to a bowl game in the first season with, yes, obviously a familiar face, but new head coach. He hasn't been here for 15 years. And the transition of the program, like you talked about, I think that's a big thing. A lot of turnover, a lot of new faces, learning new systems, new plays, new tactics. I just think they will be bowl eligible. My prediction, I'll even give the Mid-Ohio Valley a number. I did this with our Josiah Schuneman and Peyton Brooker outside in the newsroom. Probably a few weeks ago, we talked about the schedule, but I had them pegged at about 7, maybe 8 wins. I think some of those road games they have in the Big 12 will be tough. I'm not sure what to expect from Pitt this year. That's the game that we want to win. I hope that they win that game, but Eli Holstein good quarterback, and they've got some other talented people, so that should be a fun one this year. But to turn our attention for the last thing I want to talk about with you, you brought it up a little bit. Jamori Robinson and a few other players on the team were ineligible, and we're waiting for the NCAA to make a ruling on them getting a fifth year to play this year for the Mountaineers. And finally, that ruling was made, and now they are eligible and going to be able to play this season. So I just want to ask you, too, what impact will those four players specifically have on this team?
Jamori Robinson was Defensive Player of the Year for UTSA. Mm-hmm. He was a stud. I mean, he was just a juggernaut coming off the end. He's a guy who gets after the quarterback. The trouble is, while four of them were granted an injunction by the judge, Jamori Robinson's question is whether or not he's academically eligible, and West Virginia still does not have an answer about him. So even though they were granted the injunction, Jamori Robinson's still waiting to see if he's actually going to get to play. It's up in the air. But having those four players adds depth, it adds talent, and it's a very important step for West Virginia to reach the goals that they've set this year, especially if they're going to win 7 or 8 games like you're predicting.
7 to 8 games, I think that's the sweet spot, Brandon. You didn't give us a number. I tried to give you the opportunity, but it sounds like you're a little scared.
Oh, no.
All the way out in Nelsonville. If I had you in studio, I think you'd be telling me right on the spot.
No, I'm good at 6. I'm good at 6. I think I feel comfortable. The over-under in Vegas is 5.5.
That's your
good
line,
at
6. 6 is where you think they're going to end up. 6-6, maybe 7-6 if they win the bowl game.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So we're in the same neighborhood there. I have a feeling Jeremy's got them at 10 wins or something. So at least we're being realistic here and we're having fun with it. Now, before I let you go, Brandon, one final thing. I think you and your brother probably are going to release, whether it's this week before the game or maybe next week before next week's game, another episode of your podcast. What is the best way for people to listen to you guys and tune in?
Most people listen on Apple Podcasts. Plenty of people listen on Spotify. You can listen anywhere you listen to podcasts. West Virginia, Ohio, nationwide, worldwide. The Raspy Voice Kids are anywhere you listen to podcasts. So check us out. First chance you get. Don't miss it. We're out there. Raspy Voice Kids on everything.
Wonderful, Brandon. Never sell yourself short. Say global, worldwide first. Don't even say Ohio and West Virginia. Make sure, the flying Hail West Virginia is all the way out there wherever we can be. But Brandon, thank you so much for sitting down and previewing this game with me for this weekend.
You got it, man. It's great to be back.
Of course. I hope that we get you in studio next time. Maybe we'll get Jeremy, hopefully before the Backyard Brawl in a couple weeks, and it'll be a good one. Hopefully West Virginia going undefeated into that game. But thank you so much, Brandon.